Do you ever have that feeling? That feeling of complete and utter peace. Peace you can't explain. There's a reason for this. It has something to do with the observer. It follows you everywhere you go. And it simply observes. You don't see it very often. It's not really known what its motives are either. But when you are in a state of paralyzing fear, it may hold you in its grip. Not in a menacing manner, almost that of a comforting hug from a mother. But other times while you are afraid, it will only observe you. It does not have a true form. It can mold itself into near anything. And it is neither hostile, nor is it your protector. The observer is merely the observer, always there, never leaving. You've probably seen it before, behind you, maybe even in front of you. The only time you cannot see it is when you put yourself into some place you truly fear. A dark alley, an old abandoned house, the dense trees of a forest. It observes you until the day you die, never resting, never ceasing to watch you. Why it does this, nobody really knows. Maybe it is something divine. It protects you in places you fear at times. Or does it do this because it wants you all to itself? No one has ever reported of this being harming them, but there are reports of being extremely afraid of it, if they believe they see it run across the hall, or stand in the corner of your room at night. The observer has another name, and I believe you would know it as your shadow. You know those chain emails you get? The ones that claim something terrible will happen to you if you don't forward this to 5 friends? Or the ones that say you'll get a kiss from your true love at midnight if you post it on 3 more videos within 10 minutes? Do you ever wonder where they started? Maybe you thought some bored college student decided to send it to someone, and it scared them so much that they sent it to more people, and the cycle continued. Despite the people that do not send it and find it stupid, some people still do send it. And these people are slaves. Slaves of the chain man. Let me start by saying, I was the person that would delete the emails and go about my day. But one day, something happened. I received the email that would seal my fate from Chainman at .com to you. Hello there, James. I've noticed that you've not been one to listen to or even read chain emails, but I highly suggest that you read this one. I won't tell you a story about what will happen to you if you don't send this to your best friend. I think you've heard enough of those. Instead, I will give you a game. If you send this to your best friend, I may come to your house and kill you. Or maybe I won't. It's a 50-50 chance. But if you ignore this, you will regret it. Signed, the Chain Man. This bothered me, Not very many chainmails did this, but this one did. The fact that he gave me a choice, and either way, he would supposedly maybe come to my house. So I sent it to my best friend, just before I went to sleep. Nothing happened. I woke up relieved and decided to call my best friend to see what he thought of the chainmail, but he didn't pick up. This was odd. He always answered the phone, and he was an extremely light sleeper. He would always answer the phone, no matter what. I brushed it off as he couldn't reach the phone in time and he would call back in a minute. And, just like I thought, my phone rang soon after. "Hey man, weird email, right?" I said, laughing. But all I heard was heavy breathing. "Oh, dude," I said, a bit more scared. "Thank you for playing," a voice said. "But you lost. I decided that I'd kidnap your best friend instead of killing you. If you want to ever see him again, you will do exactly as I say." And since then, I have sent every chainmail he has sent me. And if the people that I send it to don't forward the chainman will text me from my best friend's phone. And it will leave a number counting down. If you ever send a chainmail, keep in mind, you feed the chainman. You get closer and closer to becoming his next victim. I see you right now, sitting there at your computer, listening to this. You look a bit frightened. Don't worry, they're just stories. They can't hurt you, right? Or can they? Do you ever see a ghost if you don't know what one is? I have a theory that we make the monsters we fear real. Did you ever see Slender Man before you heard from him, from a friend? My theory states that demonic forces are at work here, and they want nothing more to scare you into a place where you live in misery. They do exist. You know the things you see moving in your room when it's dark? That's the demons closing in on you. Never get up if you see them wander around your room. Remain silent. Don't move a muscle. They can sense you. They can sense that you are somewhere in the room. They will disappear come morning. But know this, the more you fear something, the more those demons will use it against you. That is why they tell you to overcome your fears. Because if you don't, they will make you a prisoner in your own home. And I highly doubt that's what you want. I would suggest that you stop listening to these stories for a while. Because your walls will protect you from us. You like to be scared. That's why you're listening to this, right? That's the reason you've turned off the lights and shut your door, so you can be afraid all alone with your computer. But are you alone? Do you hear those odd noises coming from outside your room? Don't bother trying to lock your door now. It's too late for that.
You did this to yourself. Remember when you ignored me at school yesterday? Remember when the football team beat me up and you sat there and laughed at me? You could have helped me, but you didn't. You gave in to that peer pressure and called me a geek and nerd like everyone else. Guess you didn't know that nerd had feelings. Or did you, and you just absolutely refused to notice? Well, I've had enough now. You like to be scared? Well, look outside. Sorry about the mess. Your lover put up more of a fight than I expected. But they're gone now. Now it's just you and me. You like to get scared? Well, tonight will be quite enjoyable for you then.
It's raining outside. Calming, isn't it? The sound of it crashing against your house, knowing you're safe from harm inside of it. Or are you? Have you ever listened closely to the rain? There is a hissing noise. It is barely audible, but it is still there. If you ever do hear it, I suggest you hide. Why do you think people stay inside when it rains? Not to get wet, right? Protect yourself from getting sick. But those aren't the only reasons. There is a deep instinct in humans to hide from the rain. Because if you stay out in it long enough, you begin to see things differently. You see, the rain tries to protect you from what waits out there beyond the fall. It is highly suggested that you never stay out in the rain for more than a few hours without getting inside a vehicle or house or anything really. But if you are unlucky and you stay out in the rain for more than a few hours, that faint hissing noise will grow louder, almost sounding like a distant whispering. Soon after that, the fog will fade, and you will see hooded figures standing in the distance. If you see them, run. Don't look back, just run. They will chase you. Don't let them catch you. Home won't be safe for you. At that point, you can only run until it stops raining. These beings, for some reason, only come out in the rain. I don't know what happens if they catch you, and I don't want to find out. So, next time your weather broadcast tells you to find shelter from the rain, do so, or you will spend the rest of your life running. Every time it rains, they will appear and chase you. Never stay out in the rain.
There's an urban legend in my town. It's the legend of the Jamestown Bridge. Janice was a young girl, smart and beautiful. She also loved to dance. Every day after school, she would go to a dance class. She found it the most amazing feeling in the world to move her body in such a graceful way that people couldn't help but to admire the beauty of the dance. But one day, she was walking home from school, headed to the dance class, when she realized the route that she normally took was blocked off due to road construction. so she had to take another route. She knew the forest very well, and she knew that if she cut through it, she would be able to get to the dance class much quicker than she would trying to find a route around the construction. So that's what she did. Keep in mind that it was the fall and the leaves covered the ground as she began walking deeper into the forest. She's very close to the dance studio now, just a few more blocks until she is clear of the roadwork. But all of a sudden, she hears something. Something that frightens her. It was a bear, roaring loudly. She had gotten too close to her den. She screamed and ran as fast as she could into the city. She eventually lost the bear by running out onto a country road. She didn't pay attention to the drunk driver that swerved out of his lane and hit her. About an hour after the hit and run, police found her on Jamestown Bridge, dead. But they never caught the drunk driver that did this to her. Her parents were devastated, and her classmates grieved for weeks. But eventually, she was forgotten. People moved on with their lives. One night, Steve and a bunch of his friends piled into the car after a fun night at the bar. They were all way too drunk to drive, so to avoid being caught by the police, they drove down country roads that were not patrolled as often. Eventually, they were driving on Jamestown Bridge. All of a sudden, Steve slammed on the brakes, and that caused the car to tip over. Later, at the police station, Steve claimed he saw a woman dancing on the road. Ever since then, anyone who goes down that road drunk will get into an accident. Depending on how drunk you are will determine the severity of the crash. But one thing is always the same. You will see a young woman dancing on the bridge just before you crash. Is Janice taking revenge on people that drive drunk, or is it just a drunken illusion? You decide.